Hello students, welcome back to your English class. So today we will start a new chapter from your literature reader book. Chapter number 6, Olive and the Bees. Now this chapter is an edited version of Olive and the Bees from Chatterbox, written in 1906. Now let's start with the chapter. Olive and the Bees. I mean to make a study of bees, said Olive. So here Olive is a character of the story. She is thinking of studying about bees in an important manner as she looked up from a big book on natural history. So she was reading a book on natural history. So now she picked up her eyes from the book and told something to whom, which she had been reading for the last 10 minutes. So she was reading this book for the last 10 minutes. And after reading the book for 10 minutes, she was of the view that she wanted to study about the bees. So whom she is now talking with? She is talking with Charlie. Listen to this Charlie. She went on addressing her elder brother. Now who is Charlie? Charlie is Olive's elder brother who was arranging his roller skates. So this is the second character of the story, that is Charlie, who is arranging his roller skates, that is tying his roller skates so that he could go. It says here, for those who have leisure and wish to be entertained, we know of no study which promises a greater degree of satisfaction. So in the book it says that for those who have leisure, that who has ample leisure time and wish to be entertained, and who wants to be entertained and utilize the leisure time in a profitable manner, those persons can do one thing. No study is better or greater in degree than this, and this will bring a greater amount of satisfaction to the person. I have plenty of leisure these holidays. Now the holidays are going on, so Olive now has plenty of leisure during the holidays. So and I mean to be like Huber and study bees. So Huber is a person who studies bees, so she wants to be like Huber. I will find out wonderful things about them. So while studying, I will find out many things unknown about these bees. He was visually impaired, you know, and as I am not, I ought to find out a lot more. So Huber was visually impaired. That means he was not capable. His eyesight, he had a poor eyesight, so he was not capable to see properly. So Huber had this defect in him, but she could see properly. So obviously she ought to find out more about the bees, which Huber couldn't do. Olive finished up triumphantly. So Olive finished up this enthusiastically, and now she was in great amount of amusement that she will find out new things about the bees. Charlie, however, far from being impressed with this speech, only burst out laughing. Now what did Olive's elder brother do? Charlie, he burst out laughing because the idea which Olive was carrying, he thought that it was very foolish because bees are very dangerous. You are conceited, he exclaimed. That is, you are thinking too much about yourself that you will do such and such things. He is telling to his younger sister. To think that you at 12 years of age are going to beat Huber. That is, you are thinking of going to beat Huber at 12 years of age, which Huber took his lifelong time to study about bees, who spent a lifetime in studying bees. However, there is no doubt that you will learn something from them. Obviously, however, there is nothing unsure about it, and there is no uncertainty that you will learn really something good about it, or really you will gain some knowledge. But what is it, whether it will be good or bad, that we don't know. We'll learn something from them, and by the time you have been well stung, you will be able to describe some of their habits. He laughed on. Stung means the pain which you will get when the bees will sting you. So that is irresistible. The pain is so much. So obviously then you will be able to express your feelings. What happens when a bee stings? I shall not be stung, said Olive calmly. And she was. Bees are wonderfully intelligent little creatures, and she was quoting from the big book. Now, in the big book, it is written that the bees are obviously very intelligent creatures, so I will not be stung by the bees. So, I am sure they will understand that I have no wish to hurt them, but am only studying their ways. So, they will very much know that I am nowhere to hurt them. I will only find things about them and tell the world about it. And one of their ways is to sting inquisitive folk. And then what did Charlie say? And one of the ways of the bees is to sting inquisitive folk. That means those who disturb the bees, they sting it. We all know. So the same thing will happen with you if you go and disturb them. Said Charlie, let me advise you to have the vinegar bag handy. So what did Charlie say? Please have the vinegar bag handy with you, because when the bees will sting you, you will need it. That is, you will be in dire need of it because the pain will be irresistible. Nothing like it for the sting of an angry bee. And saying this, Charlie left. So, saying this, Charlie left the place, that nothing will be more painful than the sting of an angry bee, because it will try to hurt you with full force. It was the first summer that Olive had spent in the country, and all its sights and scenes were new to her. So it was the first summer which Olive had spent in the countryside, and the sights and the scenes and the scenery, the beauty, everything was new to her. Rejoicing in the freedom of being able to roam about without her hat or jacket, she ran lightly out of the low French window. So she is very much rejoicing or enjoying the entire scenario of the place, and she is very happy about it. Why she is very happy? Because these scenes were very much new to her, and she is enjoying the beauty of nature. The nature in its splendid beauty, she is enjoying it. Now, sitting down the path towards a large clump of lemon-colored foxgloves. Now, she came to a large clump or a group of lemon-colored foxgloves. Foxgloves are a kind of flowers. The bees went in and out of these foxgloves. So, the bees are coming in and going out of the foxgloves. They are extracting honey from it. Yesterday, she said, so she had seen that the bees were coming in and going out from these foxgloves. So now she was trying to find out what the bees are doing there. She said, as she stooped over the bed, so now she just stooped over the bed, that is to bend the top half of the body and to look at this manner, that if there are any more bees inside there. Ah, yes, here is one buried quite deep in the flower. So she saw one bee was there inside, buried deep inside the flower. Now what did she do? I must have that bee. That is, I will have that bee. And how will she have it? And taking out her handkerchief, she threw it over the flower. So she threw it over the flower and caught the bee. She caught the bee in its folds, carrying it in triumph. That is, she was very much happy that she has gained something in great triumph and happiness. She ran towards the hives, which stood on a shelf under a sunny wall. She ran towards the hive, which stood on a shelf on a sunny wall, and by the wall by the high garden gate. Now she wanted to leave the bee there and see what it does. Now then, dear bee, Olive said, releasing the bee with all the calmness of ignorance. So now Olive released the bee from the clasp of the handkerchief, and here is your hive. So please get into the hive. Here is your hive. Please get into it. Let me see you go in with your load of honey. So now she wanted to see the bee getting in with load of money, a load of honey which the bees usually have. Bees, however, are not creatures to be trifled with. That is, the bees are such creatures who get very angry easily. So they are not to be messed with. We should not mess with the bees or think them very much unimportant. So the same thing happened here, and this one did not mean to go to its hive. Now this bee which Olive got, it was very angry. So now what did it do? So with its honey bags only half full, so its honey bags were only half full. So now it was very angry. And what did it do? Instead, it turned fiercely on Olive. So it turned towards Olive and bitterly stung her, and stung her sharply on the hand. Oh, oh, it hurts. So now Olive couldn't resist the pain, because the sting of a bee is very much painful. She screamed, and hurrying away, she accidentally upset the straw cover of a hive. So because of great pain, she couldn't see what was coming before her. So what did she do? She accidentally upsetted the straw cover of a hive. Okay, and now what happened? Scores of bees came towards her. So that is bees in 20s, scores of them came towards her, buzzing. Olive ran as she had never run before. Now Olive was very much afraid, because she by the time knew that what it happens and how painful it is when a bee stings. But she did not escape without several severe stings, and the bees did not leave her. They stung her severely, and she was crying so much. She was all but fainting with pain and terror. So now she was very much terrified, and she was like very much in a great pain, that it was paining so much, and the pain was so severe, so it was intolerable for her. So there was terror also inside her, because she didn't know how a bee stings before, and now she had well known it. When she at last reached the kitchen door and slammed it behind her, she was almost on the verge of fainting because of excessive pain. Fortunately, Martha the maid was there and at once applied the vinegar bag. She at once applied the vinegar bag wherever she was stung, wherever Olive was stung, which eased the pain of the stings greatly. Obviously, vinegar eased the pain which Olive was facing. I only wanted to study the bees. So what did Olive say? That she only wanted to study the bees and their ways. Why did they sting her? Sobbed Olive. That is, she was trying. I never meant to offend them and make them sting me. So I never had this in my imagination to disturb them so that they will sting me. So why did they sting me? You had better study obedience, miss. So now what did Martha say? That you better study obedience and listen to others when they are telling you not to do a thing, and leave the bees alone. That is, don't mess with the bees, otherwise they will again sting you, said Martha curtly or in a very rude manner. I told you only yesterday to keep away from the hives. So Martha already told her yesterday that you should stay away from the hives, that Olive, you should stay away from the hives. But she didn't listen to Martha. If you want to study bees, get the old bee master to tell you how to set about it. Then Martha said that if you are really wanting to study about this, then go to the old master. He will tell you the various ways how to study bees. Some weeks later, Olive had an opportunity of watching the bee master when he removed the honey from the hives. So she had the opportunity, that is, she was blessed to see the bee master removing honey from the hives, and all the bees were surrounding him, but they were not stinging him. He did not get stung even though the bees were all round him. Olive could not help admiring the fearless way he went to work. So Olive was very much awestruck seeing this, that the person, that is the bee master, was not stung by any of the bees. Charlie was right. Olive did learn something from the bees. Charlie, at the first half of the story, we had seen that Charlie had told that yes, obviously you will learn, Olive, you will learn something from the bees. But what it will be, whether it will be good or bad, that you don't know. So here Olive had learned something from the bees, and one of her lessons was humility, that is, to become humble and respectful towards others. She did not think she knew all about a subject after reading of the wonderful discoveries of men who had given a lifetime to it again. So, just reading about the discoveries which great men had made, you cannot get into that same thing without thinking what will happen, what are the pros and the cons about it. They have given their entire lifetime in discovering the thing. So obviously you need to know the thing first, analyze it first, then only you can get into any type of work. So this is the moral of the story, that just jumping into any conclusion and getting into a work without thinking what will be happening to you or what will happen in the future, that is not a wise decision. So this story is an edited version of Olive and the Bees from Chatterbox, that is written in 1906. Now, I have explained you the entire chapter in detail. Please go through the chapter and the explanation so that you can understand the chapter nicely. We will again meet in the next class with the exercises of the chapter. Until then, goodbye everyone. Stay safe and be happy.